Hi everyone, I'm Deronda with Foods 101 and today I'm going to show you how to make cheese straws. They're like these little crunchy crisp crackers. For this recipe you're going to need 3/4 of a cup of all-purpose flour. This is 6 tablespoons of unsalted butter. I have 1 cup of grated cheddar cheese here. Now you can use gruyere cheese, but whichever cheese you use you want to make sure that you grate it freshly, like buy the square cheese block and be sure to grate it yourself. Here I have 1/4 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper and 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Now together I'm going to add the cheese to the flour with the salt and the cayenne pepper right here. So we can dump it in, and now we're going to work this into a paste. And I'm going to use this, here comes my salt and my cayenne pepper, and I'm going to use my spoon here and I'm going to start working it together until we get this nice fine paste. And I'll come back and I'll show you what it's going to look like. Your flour, cheese, cayenne pepper, and salt should be looking a little like this. I just got in there actually with my hands and worked in the cheese with the flour. And now we're going to add the butter. Now when you add this butter, you can work it in really super well, and the texture here is going to turn into a really fine paste. And I'll come back and I'll show you what that looks like. Now you got to put some elbow work into it. You get a nice little arm workout. I've got my butter worked in well with the flour and the cheese and the salt and the cayenne pepper. Now I'm going to take this, make sure I take a spatula to get it all off the spoon, and I'm going to turn it out onto a floured board, and I'm going to knead it for about 10 minutes. So let me show you how I'm going to do that. Take your flour, gently add it to your board, dump your cheese straw dough out. Here we go, a little bit here on the top, make sure you get all of it, and then just lightly put a little flour on the top, and you're going to knead your dough. Alright, now it can get really sticky at first, so just make sure you keep applying flour until you get this dough looking the way it needs. Alright, now I'll come back and I'll show you how we're going to roll it up. Then it goes in the refrigerator until it hardens up, and then we're going to get it out and we're going to cut it into little strips before we bake it. Now I've kneaded my dough for about 10 minutes and this is what it looks like, and I can see that all the glutens are settling in very nicely. I'm going to give it a nice little sprinkling with flour because you want to make sure this doesn't stick to your board, because we're going to roll this out. And if you can get your shape of your dough pretty well uniformed, then when you get ready to roll it out, it'll pretty well stay like I have it here in a rectangle. Alright, so I've got a rolling pin. Here we go. Put a little flour on it. And now I'm just going to roll this out to probably to about 1/4 of an inch thick. And as you can see, I've got another cutting board here because I'm going to cover the dough here, and it's going to go in the refrigerator for at least a good hour before we cut it into little strips, put it on a baking sheet, and in the oven to bake until you get these nice little beautiful cheese straws. Let's go this way. And that looks about perfect, and that looks like about the perfect thickness. Alright. Now you're going to cover this with saran wrap, and then this is going to go into the refrigerator for the next hour. You want the butter chilled, you want the cheese chilled before you slice these into cheese straws and put them in the oven to bake. And I'll be back and I'll show you how we're going to slice them up. I've taken my dough out of the refrigerator and I'm going to remove the saran wrap. And as you can see, I've had it in there for a good hour, so it's pretty solid, and you want to take a spatula and loosen up your dough under the board. You're just going to want to take a knife, and I start from the corner like this and make little slices. Now if I had my pizza cutter, I would be using that, but unfortunately I cannot find my pizza cutter. Now we're going to cut into strips like this. Come back here. As you can see, just cut them in strips and then pick them up. Oh my gosh, these are going to be so good. Now I cut off the rough edges here, as you can see. I'll just cut that right off. Then you take your strips of cheese straws and put them right over here on the baking sheet. And I have lined my baking pan with parchment paper. That's not necessary, but I just do it because if I want to just pick it up and let them fall over into a container so I can store them in, then that would be the thing to do. Alright, you just want to keep doing this until you get them all on here. And then take some heavy whipping cream. I have a pastry brush here. Dip it lightly into your whipping cream. Now if you just have milk you'd like to use, that'd be fine too. And go over the top of your dough before you cut it. That would be a lot easier. Alright, just put a little bit on there and paint on your whipping cream. Now I have the oven preheating to 450 because these are going to go in the oven for anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes depending on the temperature of your oven. And they smell so yummy and delicious. I'm going to go ahead and give this one a try. Look how beautiful and golden brown they baked. Nice. Light. Airy. Very cheesy. Y'all have to give this a try. Great for a snack. Great for a treat. Any day of the year. Hey y'all. Thanks for watching. I'm Dorana with Foods 101, and I'll catch y'all next time.